bow your head. Our Father, Lord in heaven, we thank you for getting us here today to move our city forward in our capacity of the Floresville Event Center, that we make the appropriate decisions to assist our city manager, our mayor, and our city council to make our community even more prosperous than it is today. In your name we pray. Amen.
We have a quorum is here. Leanne Rhodes, Tracy Justinia, Will Gleason, Andy Joslin, Deb Conley, myself, Melissa Popham. I'll stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I do want to introduce Tracy. She's our newest board member, Tracy Justinia. Anyone who doesn't know her, just want to welcome you, Tracy, and thank you for joining us. Do we have any citizens today that would like to be heard? Okay. You will take a look in your packets. Item number 6 under old business. Consideration and action to approve the minutes of the October the 21st, 2013 meeting. We did not have these meeting minutes at the last meeting, and that's why they've been moved to this meeting today. I could have a motion on the minutes for October the 21st of 2013.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Motion made by Leanne Rhodes, second by Deb Conley. All in favor?
Abstain.
Actually, I wasn't here, so I guess I should abstain too.
So,
With 2 abstentions and 4 ayes.
also in your package, you will find minutes from the February the 20th meeting.
I move we accept minutes.
Yeah, you weren't here.
On the 20th? Yeah, this is-
Yeah, you are listed there, but you were not here, you're correct. We'll make that adjustment. Bill made a motion.
Make a motion to accept the minutes with the correction of Deborah Conley not in attendance.
You got a motion and a second. Madam President, I've got questions real quick.
Okay.
Am I reading it wrong, or does it have, there were some blanks in here?
There actually is, on the back of the page, on the recorder, we sent it with Rob to give to Mitsuko, and I didn't speak, when we made a motion, I didn't announce who made a motion, who made a second. So she could not tell by the voices on the recorder of who made those. Was hoping someone took minutes. I did not take minutes at the last meeting. That's when we transferred over from Bill to myself, and I did not take minutes. I did speak with, Leanne, did I email you?
You did, and I did not take
Okay.
minutes on there.
So,
We did, and I've got notes from there, I'll review my notes to see if we have something similar here.
I recall on the first one, a motion was made by myself and seconded by Bill Gleason, I believe, to change the number from 3 to 4 for the quorum.
I believe that's also how it was.
It's really just item number 9, second on the,
Discussion of possible action. Remember who made the second, and he made the motion to elect new. Had to be myself, or it had to be me, because,
yeah, because Mr. Gleason was writing me at the time, he would not have made the motion and seconded.
okay. I think that was the only 2 areas that we had a blank, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we had a motion and a second now.
A motion was made, okay, Leanne made the motion with the corrections, and who was the second?
Mr. Gleason actually made the original motion.
But that was before we made
The
corrections.
corrections, they never received a second, so
Okay.
the motion on the table, and the second was,
I need a second.
Nobody seconded
1 second.
I second with the corrections.
Leanne Rhodes made the motion to accept the minutes with the corrections. Andy Joslin seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
it. Aye.
Moving on to new business, item number 8, the discussion and possible action on the election of new Floresville 4A Corporation officers.
Madam President, as you'll, the board will recall, those of you who were here at the last meeting, we elected a president and vice president, and couldn't convince anyone at the time to run for the other 2 offices. So the positions of secretary and treasurer are both vacant at this point.
I did receive information from Paige Pullen. She was a prior secretary before we made the motion for new board members, and she did request, if there was a motion made for her to remain, that she would continue to be the secretary.
There's no requirement for the individual to be president. I've already told you they're interested, so you can take them up one at a time and open the floor for nominations, or someone can just make a motion to
I
nominate.
move that we nominate her, Paige Bullock, for
Okay.
secretary.
I need a second. Okay. Motion made by Bill Gleason to nominate Paige Pullen as the secretary, second by Deb Conley. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Now I need a motion for treasurer.
Ms. Conley, you still willing to be our treasurer? I make a motion, Deb Conley for treasurer.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Andy Joslin to nominate Deb Conley for our treasurer, seconded by Bill Gleason. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Our secretary is Paige Pullen. Our treasurer is Deb Conley.
Madam President, for the record, we're recording both of those votes for unanimous.
Unanimous votes. Thank you. Item number 9, discussion and possible action on the Floresville 4A Operations Manual for the Event Center.
Madam President, item number 9 is something we discussed last time. This is a draft. What I done was I solicited board members to provide feedback on this draft version. I would again solicit feedback, does not have to be provided at this time, but look at this under tab 9, mark it up, send it back, and I can bring something to the next board meeting. So we can, of course, adjust this for Floresville's needs.
Is there any way to approve it today, so we can at least move forward and then amend it as we go? Or what's your recommendation?
We could, but I would recommend, at this point, a closer look. If we have to have a meeting just to approve this document, so we can have something in our hands, I think that's perfectly fine. No reason not to want to have this done, but my recommendation would be that everyone take a good hard look at it and make sure it's meeting our needs. And that's input from the 4A board members as well as the city. And city managers, we provide some feedback. What I want to do is take everyone's feedback, make sure we've got a draft document that we can look at, and then the board can take action at that next meeting.
Thank you.
I would like to see us go through this thing very thoroughly, because I know that the last time that we did this, and I went through it, I found several things that I had questions about. And I think he's changed, fixed most of those. But I still think we need to be very careful about making sure that we really say what we mean in here. Because you can interpret things different ways. If you're not very careful how you word them, it can come out to a disastrous end.
Madam President, what I recommend, based on, particularly on Mr. Gleason's comments and past discussion by this board, is that when we come back, we'll set this up as a work session specifically with this manual. So everyone comes back to their comments. We go through it line by line. In fact, what I might do is just come with a laptop and we'll just input those changes as we're working through it, and then go into a regular board session and approve it as revised, or come back another meeting. Make sure we can have a full open discussion on this.
Good. I think it's been a good project. I believe Bill's been working on it since we started, so that's pretty good.
So we'll table it at this time and bring it back for,
And I would encourage everybody to read it very carefully and think about what each paragraph actually says. Because if you don't, we may end up with something you have to back up and change. And that creates confusion when we do that.
And my only comment is, it's just a very practical comment. And we have to draft something that is easy for everyone to use, both the folks who are enforcing it and the folks who are coming to use the center as patrons. It's got to be something easy to read, something we all understand what it does and how it works. No motion is required on this item.
thank you. Okay, item 10, discussion and possible action on the event center fee schedule. This is something that's definitely not new to most of us because we've been working on it for some time. The colored sheet that I passed out, this is the fee schedule that we've gone over and over, and I did meet with Henrietta a couple of weeks back, and we had a couple of discussions on some stuff with input from herself and also Gloria Martinez. There are a couple of things that we wanted to bring to the attention to possibly make an adjustment on. On page 2, right now the arena is being rented for $250 with or without lights. We had proposed it at a different figure there, but it's already being proposed. We're renting it at the $250 now, so with everyone's agreement on that, we'll leave it at $250, and if they need water hauled in, then we charge $75.
Where's it?
Where it says Rodeo Arena, there's no correction on your paper. It shows there that proposed was $150 and then $200 with lights, but basically right now it's being rented for $250.
With lights.
So we have to adjust it.
So that is going to be an adjustment. And we are gonna charge for water, yes.
So that gets correct.
Correct. So instead of being, 150 and 200, it's 250 flat, whether it's day or night,
Perfect.
and then $75 to, haul water.
Melissa, may I say something? About the water, the reason that we're charging $75 is because the guys, some of our employees have to bring the water, the tank, whatever,
Right.
and, spread it out there, so that's a lot of work for them, so, I haven't had any problems for people saying, no, they don't want to, or whatever, so.
On the watering thing, this is off subject too much, but I was driving out of the event center last summer. There was a great big water truck, parked line up, filling up water. I don't know if it's
We
the
sell
city,
that water.
a city thing, or, because I stopped and I said, what you doing?
I did too.
Because I'm paying. I said, well, okay.
They paid for that water.
Is that going on the event center bill?
I don't think so, I think it just goes straight to the city.
Okay, so if everyone's okay with those changes, if you can just make the adjustment on there, and then we'll type up a final and get it to city council. The other changes that, Ms. Martinez brought to my attention or wanted us to take another look at, on the audio and visual equipment area, we've got there that we're gonna charge for, the screens, the cameras, the front TV and that kind of a thing. And, at the city manager's request, she wanted us to have that all included in the 2,300 rental. Seems like there may be some issues with some of the audio and visual items out there or something, and she was just asking if we could just include, instead of breaking that all out, they would be able to have the use of these items with the actual rental of the center. Okay. And then the second concession bar with 700 plus guests, we open that up when there's, when need for an extra bar or whatever. And we had proposed $350, and I was also asked to move that to $300, just to go up $50. Basically requires 2 extra people hired to man a second bar when we have to open that. So those are the changes that I've been asked by our city manager to make to this fee schedule. And other than that, as far as the ballroom rental, the meeting rooms, the cleanup and all of that, we were in agreement on everything else.
Okay, so recap.
Recap is on the rodeo arena, we're gonna charge $250, whether it's day or night, with or without lights. And we're gonna charge $75 to haul water. On the second concession and bar, when we have to open that, it'll be $300
Is that per day, per night?
per day, yes, yes. And when I'll type this up, I will put per day on that. And the $75 is per truck, right, Gloria?
I'm sorry?
The $75 is per truck for the
Yes,
water?
per truck, right.
Okay.
Now, what if they come out and start an event like at 8 o'clock in the morning? Does that cover the entire day, or?
The way we have it written, it's
Is it-
$250.
Is it the day and the
Yeah.
night? Let's
Yeah.
say it
Yes.
starts in the morning and it doesn't end until 10 o'clock at
Yeah.
night.
That's the way
Yeah,
we've
that's
got it
per
written,
day.
per day.
That's
as
pretty
of
cheap.
now.
Yeah, it is
It's
cheap.
That is
reasonable.
very reasonable.
We were charging 150, and I was like, that didn't cover the light bill.
Which, that's what we were gonna charge, was the 150, and you're already charging 250,
I'm
so.
already charging 250.
Like a lot of broken events and things like that will be all day. They'll come out there in the morning and they'll be there till late at night.
And then the second concession and bar will go to $300 per night,
Not 350.
not $350. And then under audio and visual equipment, that will all be deleted, and those items will be included in the actual ballroom rental. So they'll get to use the TV screens, the sound system and all of that with their $2,300. So I'll remove this completely when we go before.
Melissa, excuse me, on the caterer that sometimes comes in, okay, I've been charging them $150 to use our kitchen because of the fact that, you know, like, for instance, for the Opry, they come in and we don't get anything out of the cater or, so, a percentage. We used to get a percentage from Warner's, but they kind of stopped coming. So, when I first started, Carolyn would get a percentage from Warner's, whatever they made, we would get a percentage. Well, that stopped. So, Henrietta and I talked about it, and maybe, you know, I thought, well, we need to charge something for the kitchen because sometimes they don't clean it up or anything, and we have to worry about it. So I started charging $150, like for whoever comes in to do the Opry, the cater, they're paying me $150 to use our kitchen. Not for weddings or anything, because that's kind of included, but anything like a special event or something, if they're gonna use a kitchen. So is that okay with
Well, the
that?
way we have it written here is that we were already charging $150 for the kitchen, and that we were gonna
Just
go to
2,000?
and we're gonna go to 300, is that the way I understand it?
Okay, but we're talking about weddings and events like that, but not,
I think it's gonna be just, there should be just across.
I think regardless, if you're using the kitchen, the new
That's what
fee is
you're
gonna
gonna
be
pay.
$300. If you're using the kitchen, doesn't matter.
okay, I understand.
Does that
what
make
you're saying
sense?
now. Yes.
Okay.
So whoever comes in to cater, I'm gonna charge them $300.
It's gonna be $300, yes.
All right, I understand.
Maybe rewording that.
Because it's that much to clean, more than that. I'm sorry.
Rewording where it says all other services available, decorating, catering. It's not catering that you're providing, it's the kitchen, correct? For the caterers. Correct.
All other services, decorating, catering.
Because it makes it seem like y'all are providing catering.
Where's that?
A kitchen or caterers?
It should just say kitchen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Facilities.
Well, we don't decorate and we don't do photography, so we do need to remove.
Just remove that whole thing. You need to remove all that. We can support any of that, or supplying that,
No.
decorating, catering.
No, we don't do any of that.
Okay.
It used to be narrow.
Okay. And then the only other thing on there that we can all make sure we agree, churches, government entities, groups, which are classified as a 501c3, and civic groups, which provide a service to the residents of Floresville, will receive a 20% discount. Doesn't matter who you are, this is gonna be a 20% discount off of what we charge. That's what we're agreeing on, correct?
City manager, what are your thoughts on that? You have it?
If you could think about the two different days, you know, Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays are usually your high ticket items. And so if they would agree, and I spoke to the library one time, to think about a deeper discount if they use on off days, if they have it on Tuesday night or Thursday night, which is not a night that's usually booked. As you go for any event, it's less, but here you don't have that option, it's a flat fee. You see, so if they use on an off night that we normally wouldn't have an event, if you could think about giving a deeper discount for those off nights. So if they're having their fundraiser on a Thursday night, which is not necessarily a night that you would have booked a big party for, and I'm just trying to remember the $2,000 number. So you normally charge $2,000, you give me a 20% discount if I can have it on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I could get a deeper discount if I did it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
And I agree with what you're saying, but I think that we've tried to get away from that, if y'all will help me out here, because we've got this person saying I need it for, or I'm gonna get it for this, and this person saying I'm gonna get it for that. We were hoping to be able to come up with a figure that was going to be justified for everyone, so that we're not put in a situation to pick and choose who we're gonna give this better price thing.
Maybe I don't understand it, like on our Thursday ballroom rentals, Monday through Thursday, things like that, we're already cutting it down to the bone.
We're cheap.
Yeah, we are.
We're cheap.
Well,
Right.
they're charging you per hour.
And
they're
then
not charging you per-
giving them a 20% discount on that, gives them a
That
pretty.
does not even pay for electricity.
No, it
on
doesn't.
that.
Well, for, excuse me, as far as, for example, the Opry always have their event on a Thursday night. We charge them $600. it goes down to $420. We're the 30% right now. Well, you know, we don't even get enough for even the cleaning or the setup.
See, that doesn't even include.
You charge them how much on the Thursday night?
On the Thursday night, $100 an hour, so we charge them a total of $600 minus 30%. And that was the way it was when I started
Yeah.
then.
It was 30%.
So to
They
me,
charge hourly rate Monday through Thursday,
yeah,
correct?
right. So, like I said, I collect $420 from them, and it, I mean.
And what do we pay to have it cleaned after that night?
We're not
$350.
making any money, and I thought that's what we were supposed to.
And it started because it was real small, well, now it's grown. I mean, like Thursday night, they're having Bobby Flores, well, I know we're gonna have a crowd. You know, and you know, it's a good group, a good, you know, they're doing good, but it's like, you know, what do we do?
Well, we can keep it with the consistency, so we're just trying to come up with some fees that are fair and equitable. And so we want to keep something so that, as I know Melissa, you and I talked about on several different occasions, so it's not rocket science. And like your attorney said earlier, something that anybody can read, and I do have to appreciate the policy that he talked about earlier. It is user-friendly, there were no whereas and therefores and such as to interpret. So we want to be able to share this, and so we want to be, so nobody has to come in and word jewelry, they can be able to figure out for themselves the matrix on how to do that. So if you want to stick with 20% eating math, I can do that in my head, rather than the 30%. So we can see how that works, because it is getting very popular as we go.
Yeah.
Some people are having annual events, and I think this is
money.
part of
All this discount, and wear chicken suit on Tuesday, you get a discount.
And the, like the Opry, they paid up until November, so they're kind of stuck with that.
Input on if we want to change this to something different than the 20%, are we gonna go forward with what we originally agreed on?
Are we making money on the beer sales with the opera?
That's the only thing that we, the last two times we have made, not clear, but we've made about 1,500, 1,800.
So
Like I
that
said, it's
helps
not
make-
clear.
That helps make up our loss on the end.
But we shouldn't be losing.
No.
We
Are
shouldn't
people
print it to
complaining
lose.
about that? Are there some complaints about it's too expensive?
Or
I think it's a bargain in that.
Are we getting complaints about
Look,
that?
you know, I
It's
don't
too
think, and maybe Andy, I don't think they would ever make everybody happy. I mean, to really make them happy, give it to them free.
Well, no,
But
but I mean, are people voicing an opinion?
I think the change is a little different for them because they, you know, they're used to paying what they're paying now. And so any change makes people a little bit nervous. When we started some things such as, I'm telling the lawyer for manpower to protect my man, that you come and you set up, and you set up, it is what it is. We're not gonna move chairs here on the day of the event. Once they set up, they set up. As you would do with any banquet. I mean, I'm not saying I'm trying to be mean, I'm just saying, once the room is set up, you say, yes, this is what I want, then my crew leaves. They're not gonna come back and do 6 more tables or bring your garbage. I can't do that. We don't have the manpower to do that. And sometimes, you know, to be at 8 or 9 o'clock, I'm having somebody out there moving tables for an event that started at 6. It's just not feasible for us to be able to do that. So we're trying to get people in the habit of that. The other thing we're trying to get people in the habit of, if you put a deposit down, you say you want this date, and then you say, oh, no, we don't want the 5th, we want the 8th. No. Because it's a deposit to hold that date, and you can't just be shopping around the date. We're even doing that on the pool now.
A deposit means a deposit to hold and there's no refund.
Right, and so we're just saying, just because you have to imagine Gloria trying to accommodate them, and I get emails about people all the time about how accommodating she is and how they're really happy and like booking it, but it's craziness for her to say, you said it on the 5th, so she scheduled everything around, I scheduled the crew to come out, set up the room and stuff on the 5th, only find out, no, I really want it sliding on the 8th. Well, it's not.
I just wondered if people were talking to you about the fees.
No, they just ask for a discount, deep discount, and so I get to be able to say that the board approved, and the council's gonna approve these fees, once you all approve them, then I can just hold to the fees is up, my hands are
This is
tied.
what you got.
And I think
Exactly,
But
and it's gonna
that's
make my
my,
job a lot easier.
That's my comment, or my question to you, city manager, once this is approved by the council, if it is, then we're not gonna be waiving this or that, or moving, or anything else.
And this is something very, very out of the normal. I mean, this is what people, we did let the Little League Spurs use the gym to have the award ceremony. We're not talking about anything like that. well, you were talking about, you know, the ballroom and the having an event in the patio, which I had sunrise Easter service there.
Yeah.
It was awesome to sit there with that tree, to do that. I hate to the tree, but, no, nothing on, I mean, something like that. I know we want to encourage for the youth to be able to do that, but, you know, for these really big 2,000, we want to be able to do that. If I could, for one more second, the council be quiet. The council's working on, the Phelps grant. One of the things with the Phelps grant, you all are familiar with the Phelps grant? Phelps gives the city, I think last year was it $5,000 or something like that? 55. And they're gonna go up a little bit more this year. And so we match it with in-kind. And so what I've talked to Gloria about, so that it's hard keeping track, we're gonna give them a certificate and say, here you have so many hours based on the schedule of value, because if we give them $3,000, we give them $3,000 worth of value of using the center. It will have its caveat, stay away from my hot weekends. So you know, so the weekends are not available, but you can use the gym, so we're gonna use that, to try to, as an in-kind, to match for summer activities is what the grant's for, so that's what we're gonna be able to do. So it's kind of, we get to use it in-kind, so we let you all know, and, once the city awards them, we'll let you all know who's gonna be receiving these in-kind services. We are looking for those who service youth, is what the grant is for, so it would be
For
a
summer programs.
I believe last year, Andy, correct me, it was all a Boys and Girls Club?
Yes,
They
Okay.
got all of it.
And so this year, we're trying to do some sharing and reference to maybe more than one group.
What
So just to let you know, I mean, I know, I'm just trying to let you know, in case, you know, they say the Girl Scouts got a grant or the Boy Scout, I don't know.
Can there be a limit on what each individual gets, so we don't have one pig getting it all?
Well, I think the council has given us given me the direction to have an application, so we don't have people to apply. That should be required in the paper, that was discussed last Thursday, so.
That's not okay for us to go to one organization.
There will be whoever applies. I think the library has definitely added interest into that, as well as movies, so those kind of things. But just to let you know, it'd be, Boys and Girls will be using it, and we're looking for another agency. I think the direction is at least 2, maybe 3 groups that'll be servicing.
Well, I think the Boys and Girls Club needs to have a limit put on him, because she will take whatever she can get.
Well, that's on your agenda, and for discussion.
Okay, back to,
Yeah, Madam President, this provision and the one immediately below it with local government, the local government entities who can use free of charge on a case-by-case basis. I will work that into the operations manual. So the categories we have right now are churches, government entities, groups classified as 501c3, and civic groups. So I'll need some help fleshing out what is a civic group as opposed to a 501c3 versus a church versus a government entity, and distinguish that from local government entities as well that could potentially get it for free, but would automatically have 20%.
The definition there.
That's right. So I'll work something up, and then that can be part of our work session on the operations manual, so we can flesh that out. Because again, as we've discussed, we want to make sure that everyone walks in knowing exactly whether they qualify or not. You don't want to have an argument at this board level, or an argument at the Civic Center saying, hey, you give us a bill and it's 20% higher, or it should have been 20% less than what it is. So we need to flesh that out.
so it just needs to be removed,
No, I think,
Defined.
I think it's fine as is, if that's what this board
but we'll just
approves.
identify those.
But the
groups.
operations,
Got it.
what we'll do is we'll provide definitions for this.
Okay, I understand. We do need a motion to approve our changes, so if I can have a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the event center fee schedule with the adjustments on the rodeo arena, the second bar, and removing all the auto visual and having that included in the base rental rate.
Second.
And the 2 lines of other services available.
And those two there.
Okay.
And 2
The
lines-
deletion
2
of
lines.
the other services available.
Decorating.
Oh.
Decorating.
I have a motion made by Andy Johnson, it's been seconded by Deb Conley. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Now it's approved at our level, correct, but it has to go to council. for that.
Now we have to
council.
take it to council,
It goes to council.
so if I
If you give me
can,
a revised copy, you can do that. The next agenda, I believe, is May 8th, is that right?
okay.
Yes, that we can put it on.
I will work with Mitsuko this week and we'll get it all fixed and rolling.
That'll make my job a lot
So
easier.
if you can put us on that agenda, that would be great. We should have it done by then for sure.
Which agenda will that be?
The 8th, which is
When do we get that Phelps bond money?
Next week, yeah, it's next week.
What's that?
The Phelps bond
May.
money?
No, she's talking about the Phelps grant money. bond.
Yeah.
No, but Melissa, you were talking about putting that on the
On
agenda.
the agenda, correct.
Next
The
week.
event fee schedule, this.
No, she's talking something different.
Yeah.
Correct.
Ms. Henry was talking about the Phelps was gonna give us $5,000 and then it was
Oh,
gonna
you
be
asked
billed
me
out.
that. Okay.
I'm not sure, we just sent in the email saying that we want to participate in the program.
Okay.
Based on the council's directive on last Thursday, they were letting us know, let's do that. We're putting out an application to send out to the groups to say they need to apply. City council will approve those based on the application, and then we'll let everybody know.
Okay,
So
so the
we're all-
applications don't come through here, don't
It's
come
not,
through
it's
the board.
not a 4A, it's a city.
It's the city, I just want to let you all know who's been awarded this in-kind use of the community center, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So that you know that if someone's using a gym and you don't see the revenue on that end, it's because it's an in-kind. I'll let you know the amount, it'd probably be somewhere between $1,000 to $1,500, I envision, which is probably just, ballroom use or basketball use or something like that.
And I'll keep a log on it.
And Madam President, if I could just comment the manager and the mayor, if there are any comments about particularly the 20% discount provision in the groups that are identified or not, if we get that feedback, so I can work that into the operations manual. Again, if there is any discussion with staff or the council level about that issue, we can work that and make sure that that's identified.
Item number 11, discussion and possible action related to the license issued to the event center by the Texas Alcohol and Beverage Commission, including renewal thereof.
Madam President, item number 11 is the TABC's license. It's under tab 11. One of the questions that has come up, two questions have come up in the history of discussion.
This is here.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Two questions have come up in discussion of the TABC license. Just to remind the attorney board members and for benefit of you board members, the holder of the TABC license is the Floresville 4A Corporation. So when the license was applied for initially, all of the current 4A board members were listed on the license. Mitsuko Ramos in our office, who is not an attorney but has a vast depth of experience dealing with TABC on various issues, including licensing, has been talking to their local office. They do not need every 4A board member listed on the license, but they do need a signatory. We're in the category of corporation, and we do need an officer to sign it, but whichever officer wants to put it on. So that, one of the questions has been, who is the signatory for purposes of submittal, what names TABC needs. The second question has always been related to liability. And we have talked about that in general terms over the years. We are in open session. We are not facing any pending litigation, so I feel comfortable saying that there's always some liability for anything that you do. Merely operating a civic center obviously raises some question of liability, but there are no existing claims, alcohol related or non-alcohol related. But the very general question over who needs to sign, it's just an officer from the 4A corporation. Typically, it's the president. You knew that was coming. You knew that was coming.
And typically, it's been me since day one.
And you'll notice Mr. Gleason stepped down from that position last time, so we didn't have to sign his life. Coincidence? I think not.
Becoming a locomotive.
Looks like I'm signing.
Is a 4A board still covered under TFL?
Should be covered under the city's.
Subsidiary, yes.
Madam President? Now, in confusion, I just want to make sure there was somebody listed on the TABC before that's no longer a member on your board, so we need to make sure that
Yeah,
this
well,
notification, we're going to have the proper names listed, because I think there's a name that's no longer active.
What we are recommending, myself and Sukin also, what we're recommending is we only put one name on there, and that would be the board president. And so TABC would prefer to have the names of all of the board members, but they're not going to require it. So we'll only have one name, and we will only change it when we change board president. Is that a fair solution?
And the only question I have for you, or you may have a question for the attorney, is
the licensing that you have through the state for your business? Is that any conflict or anything?
I might just need to check that.
Okay. I would remind you that whoever signs it, remember you are signing on behalf of the 4A Corporation, not in your individual capacity. So as you check into any personal or professional reasons that would inhibit you from doing it, think about that you're signing not as an individual, but in your capacity as a board member. And it does not have to be the board president that signs it. Or the vice president signs it.
I could do that. I hold a federal bill.
Here we go again.
I do have a federal firearms license and also I will just need to check.
Then I would strongly encourage you to check on that.
Thank you.
Any guidance that we can provide on our end, please let me know.
Thank you.
There's no action required on this issue.
I think it's due by the 23rd of May, something of that, if I
May.
recall.
I think it was the 20th.
Okay, we've got a few weeks.
At the top of that page, right there. You're right.
The 23rd, we have to have it.
Yes, sir.
So I can find out and then I can get with you. And if not, Bill, I'll gladly pass it back over to you.
I do believe that the outstanding question of folks who had some concerns about having their name on the license,
To be responsible.
that will alleviate that particular concern. Someone's got to be on the hook.
Okay. I'll check and I'll let you know. Okay, item 12, discussion and possible action related to a proposed firework event on the 4th of July.
Madam President, may I speak? Okay. As you know, that they did not have fireworks last year, and I received several emails to Andy that I get to take, and phone calls saying that they really would like to see one. And I know it's all about a budgetary issue. And so I've been looking and researching, and from what they tell me is that there was a $10,000 fee that was paid for by EDC, which I'm searching out to do that. Then the event was canceled. And the $10,000 fee was paid to a vendor that sells the fireworks, and necessarily sets them off. And so I contacted him, and he's saying he barely remembers it, but he thinks so, because I think it was 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? 2 years ago. And so, he's coming in to meet with me, but he says, yes, he has something, and he loves Floresville, and he really wants to give it. So that's like half of the battle that we're there. We sent out some fillers and asked some people in the chamber, and I did bring this in front of the council. And of course, they are all for the fireworks, it's just a matter of budgetary. We got through our audit, we did quite well, we're going in the right direction, but fireworks is expensive. And so if we can start it with the 10,000, we've had a couple of people who said they would actually donate money to do this event. So I'm going to search and go forward to do that. But I definitely would need to have the 4A board aboard to come and make this into fruition. Now, I've never been to a fireworks event here in the city of Floresville, as you know, so I'll tell you my vision, and my mom lost, just say, hear me anyway. So I would really like to have, if I could have this, and we could work together, it'll be just fireworks coming, because it's gonna be late, because it doesn't really get dark till like 8 o'clock or so. So we would start the event not till about noon, because I won't start early in the morning. We started about noon. We have something for the kids, and I would think about a community stage. And actually, Melissa, you were my inspiration for that. When I went to the community band that they had in the ballroom, and they were playing, and they said that you helped provide buses for them. So I'm thinking a community stage. So inside the wonderful ballroom that we have, we could have a community stage. So anybody who wants to sing and dance, and I don't know if you all know Drama Mama, it's a lady who works with Wilson County. She's a tax
Drama International, Sandy.
Sandy.
Drama Mama, I've never heard
So she
of
wants
her.
to get the kids up on stage, and she wants to, so we would have a community stage. Anybody wants to sing or dance, and she said she would coordinate it.
Like karaoke?
Yes, whatever you want to do, it's a community stage. So the kids are singing, they have an opportunity to perform on the community stage. And by the way, I'll have fully AC, so that would be really nice. Inside, even the band said that they would come and perform. Our community band said they would come and perform if they were available for that day. But on the outside, that wonderful patio, I was thinking about a trackless train going around in circles, getting dizzy, but they like that. And for a nominal fee of $1, I mean, just $1, and let the baby just ride around in circles so he gets dizzy, okay? And then those little jumpy things that they go crazy in, but it's in the shade, it's not actually hot. And then Gloria has already started asking people, what do you think would like to come and sell some things? So if you're on the inside in the air conditioning, you could charge a different fee. And if you're outside, you can charge a booth for everything from anything you could think of, watermelon, candy, whatever it is, We would really have it, and I think I got that from the Home and Garden, but the mayor asked me to go, and I couldn't believe it, moved all that stuff in there for the event. So that, and then for the grown and sexy people, oh, I'm sorry, for the adults.
Okay.
On the other side, we have a guy who wants to come show me motorcycles and Corvettes and all that kind of stuff, that they want to go around, be muscle, and they have this guy who will do bull rider things or something, to ride a bull, for like $5, get on there and do that kind of stuff. To have that kind of stuff over there away from the kids. And then the fireworks will go off. And we've even had an entertainer who said that they have some young bands who want to perform locally, and they need to build a resume. You know, when you have entertainers, they have to have a resume and performed on 4th of July and open for something. They need to build a resume. Some of them have never actually performed other than in the garage. And I'm like, fine, you provide the stage, you can do it. But we don't want to charge anything for people to come, because we really want the community to come. And I'm hoping we can show all different sides of our wonderful event center so that people can see it. We have some local residents, I know it's hard to believe, that have not been there. They have not enjoyed it. It's been like a white elephant. I tell people, I wasn't here for that fight. Ignorance was bliss on my part, but the baby's here, so we have to deal with it. It's not gonna go away. Whether you like it or hate it, it's not going away. But it's a beautiful, to me, it's a beautiful center. We need to be able to have everybody come and embrace this and one out of the 4th of July. Now I'm gonna, follow your lead in reference to we want to charge a nominal fee for parking, or if you want to charge us something simple, because people can park across the street and watch the fireworks. I'm not going to even charge admission, or whatever. We can charge something small for the where's the Catholic school? The Sacred Hearts.
Sacred Heart.
The Sacred Hearts can come and sell a booth. They can sell water and candy. I'm not going to compete. So if they want to sell popcorn and candy, the band booth, whoever want to come sell, we want to have a nominal $25 fee for those kind of organizations, the civic kind of organizations you're talking about. And then those people who really make the money, some of the Peanut Festival vendors want to come and sell, they want the funnel cake people like we'll be there. So, those kind of things, but I just wanted to see if there was an interest for people to come on the 4th of July. But I just think with all this God and country here, it screams we have to try to do it. And if I have a $10,000 deposit already that we can do, then all I have to do is find the money to pay somebody to shoot them off. And then we can see where we can go from there. And then any monies that's made from that, we'd want to put back into the event. I don't have to advertise it, because once the word gets out,
That's what I was
everyone's
gonna
coming.
say about, how would we advertise it?
No, come on. Will, that's gonna be Will's thing. He's gonna say, "Didn't I have a 4th of July event?" and put that in Will's Cutting News. And people, they tell me people came from far and wide to see this.
There were people parked out at, here at South Y, watching it from, I guess it's 3 miles away out there.
And even last year, they said when you didn't have one, people still came.
Yeah, came
Yeah.
and parked
People
their
still
cars.
came.
Called all the time to
And
see
they,
what
and
happened.
said, oh, what happened? And so, it may not be the big
It was
bang.
actually a real mess on 97, because people were in those
Especially
big
with
old
new trucks.
Now it's gonna be a disaster, but because people were packed all.
And it
down
falls
the
on
sides of
Friday
the
if I
road.
have my dates right.
Right.
So it's a nice weekend, so people will be coming out, it falls on a Friday. And so I just wanted to say, we have to have incorporation in order to do that. And so the board's not opposed to it, but we can't do it. I didn't ask EDC or any chamber, I didn't ask anybody for any money, because it was like, oh, nobody's paying for it. I just really wanted to say, we have this $10,000 that he's not giving back, so I said, let's get the fireworks, pay somebody to shoot them off, and we can collect that and it's about $3,000 for somebody to shoot them off. From the little fees of somebody buying the booths and some donations and see what we can
In
do.
past years, we have taken sort of an attitude that that's sort of our gift to the community, is to have something there, in the sense that it's 4th of July, Floresville really celebrates the 4th of July, and we've had, I know the first year we had the center open, and the idea was, this is something we can kind of give to the city, to get more people to come out here and see this place. They'll come out for the fireworks, they'll come out for this, that, and the other, they'll walk in the door. And it was sort of a gift, because we didn't worry about making money on it. It was a deal that we were gonna, something for the city. And that was sort of the thing that we thought about on the first one. And it's gone well. Like I say, the fireworks, the only concern I have is if there's a burn ban or something like that, it's gonna get dry this summer. We haven't had much rain. And I'm concerned what we would do if there were a burn ban.
Well, I've actually spoken to Alex from the parks, as well as the chief, Lorenzo. in reference to that, they're not, I think the ban just was lifted and not too long ago, and so they're not anticipating anything, and they'll be willing to stand by, in our case of our fireworks. I'm just, you know, being so new to the community, I know this community is screaming for that fireworks event, and so I just thought we could use the whole facility, the inside and the, so even, you know, and the parking lot, just to set up so people can be able to do that. And like I said, we could charge a nominal fee of $1 to get on, to park on there and not park on the street. It's a nominal fee for $1. Bring all your 10 kids,
And
put
actually-
about $1, that adds up.
And actually, the burn ban helps the attendants out there, because if they can't go out to their backyard and do it, or their pasture or whatever, then they'll come out there.
People even shut off fireworks for New Year's Eve. It's my first New Year's Eve. I think I'm like shooting off. We shoot off guns where I come from. But they shoot fireworks here, and so I heard the fireworks go off. Some were pretty spectacular. And you're even allowed to buy fireworks. Where in Illinois you're not allowed to buy. Indiana you can, but Illinois you can't buy fireworks.
I learned that we do this.
So if you could help, it's a lot of work because, you know, I'm coming in late, but we're gonna push it. And volunteers, I'm learning, the mayor and I, you want to volunteer. I mean, the mayor worked the home and garden concessions all by herself.
I helped her.
You know, and so when we did a cleanup last week, it was literally me and the mayor and the new secretary, interim secretary, with shovel in hand cleaning up because people said they were volunteering to show up. So I know this is a hard working board and I'm not worried about that. So it will be some work, but I know that we could, I'm definitely going to rely on you all to put me in the right direction of who's who, but Gloria's really been helpful and the mayor's always helpful with giving me names and numbers. But I think we could pull it off if we really try hard.
Andy, didn't FEDC give money for fireworks this year?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
It was
That's what
always
paid
their,
the, that's what
it
paid the
was
$10,000.
always their event.
It was their money.
And that's what we had, that's why we have that credit there, because we never bought, we never got the fireworks.
Yeah.
Is the council gonna be supportive there, or they're not gonna shoot
Well,
it
that's
down or
old
anything?
money, to me, that's under the bridge, now they can cough up new money.
Yeah, that's all, money's already
In
there.
fact,
Money's there,
She
she's not
dug
giving
it
it
up,
up.
so.
I just need, I mean, we can,
we
impress.
did hit Republic.
Was it done electronically or by hand,
Hmm?
the fireworks?
I can't remember. Jesse Ferris always took care of that, getting it arranged. And I don't know how they did it. I was always at the center watching it. And
Well, the first year we had it at the city park.